And this will just be to our channel.
Mhm.
And okay, so I'm gonna put this up on the screen. There we go. So here's toggle mode.
I still can't see your screen, interestingly.
Son of a bitch. There we go.
There we go. Woohoo.
That's entirely my fault.
So first, you try walking me through what this does.
Okay, so I guess it's up here too. Hey? So it's sending it to the AI, basically saying, okay, you have 3 different options. You have to figure out, which one. Actually, it's only 2 different options, right? Which one it is. Like if it's got anything to do with code or executing code or anything like that, then you're going to pick shell, and literally anything else you just pick explain, and that then sends the user input with the model messages.py that goes to either shell or explain to the AI, and you're off the races. Is that more or less accurate?
Yeah. It actually has 3 in there. It's got shell, explain, and discuss built in. We just don't have a discuss agent, I think, in model messages.py yet.
I think that's accurate, yeah.
So it can already choose between 3 instead of just toggling from one to the other.
Okay, so basically, I'd just be adding more ELIF mode statements.
Well, so let's first go what we want it to do, right? So right now it chooses between 3, and those 3 are hard-coded into the code, right? We want it to instead flexibly choose between as many as are in model messages.py, right?
Right.
And instead of us explaining which one to use, right? We want it to see a list of the agent names with their model messages. And it's going to get the name and a description, right? So model messages.py, instead of just being messages, needs to have the message and a description line. And I believe it already has the agent name in there because it's discuss, explain, or shell, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so then we need to update the toggle mode code to basically get the full list of agent names and descriptions from model message.py, and to be told to respond with just the name of the agent that is going to be used, right?
That is so noisy. Hold on, I got to turn the gain down on this thing. Let's get this closer to my face. Okay. Okay, so toggle mode needs to get a full list of agents and descriptions for model messages.
Yeah.
It needs to return just the name.
Yeah, it returns just the name of the agent to use. Yeah. And then, so when this gets its output currently, when it gets the name of which one to use, it updates, you see in self-conversation history, just a few lines, yeah, right there. It updates the initial model message in the conversation history with whichever one it's chosen, right? And so now, instead of using the else if modes and all of that, it's going to use the agent name, and it's going to pull the model message from that agent name, right? And update it with that one. So you see where it says if mode equals shell, message equals model message shell, else if mode equals explain. Just a few lines up from where your mouse is.
Yeah, right here.
No, even further up, right there. That if, elif, and elif.
Oh yeah.
That's how we're choosing which message to pull.
Yeah.
Right. And instead, that needs to be generic code that says, agent name, and then you grab the model message agent name from the list. Does that make sense?
I think so.
And then the other pruning, like you were saying, to do from all this is it's fine to leave it named toggle mode. Changing it beyond that might involve having to change a lot of code from GPT, and I can change it manually just as easily. But we want to remove the actual toggle, right? Because right now it's linked to a button.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be linked to the button anymore at all, right? It doesn't need to change the button config or any of that stuff, and I can pull the button later, right? But the code doesn't have to update the button.
So just get rid of it.
Yeah, I think it's just going to get rid of it, but it'll probably remove it from a few spots. So like I would be just telling ChatGPT to remove it.
Oh, okay.
Right? It's just sometimes easier when you're giving the instructions to tell it to pull that. And so when we do this, unless you're updating the UI elements, you're still going to have the button there, but just ignore the button and we can pull it manually.
Okay, so sorry, my brain is not super awesome right now.
So first, all the code you need that's relevant, scroll up a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. There. Request mode decision. Scroll down a little bit. I'm just looking for... There. Okay. So yeah, starting there. And all the way down. Yeah, stop at execute last response. Right there. You don't need the execute last response bit. There you go. Yeah, I would be very surprised if it needs to change anything outside of that.
Okay.
And so basically, eventually, like right now, it's going to do this based on your user input, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, it's going to do this based on the output of a different agent that is going through the list of subtasks that are required to actually execute or fully handle the user input. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. So basically, this is just the one-off, and then effectively we can loop it so that
it's one-off and it's controlled by us directly by our user input. Later, we'll have something that runs this in a loop and is giving it what it needs every time, and it probably changing the conversation history too, right? Because it's not necessarily going to have to use the whole conversation history, but that's later, and maybe it does, right? Maybe we keep the main conversation history and everything.
Oh, I can't change the names of these files. Okay, so when okay, so that
So what I would do in
there.
here is I would
Yeah.
be adding a model message shell description equals, and then a one-line description right before model message shell equals. And I do that for each agent. Underscore description.
Oh yeah. Only I could spell.
Not even close.
Oh my god. Sort of.
Yeah.
No, it all just looks like freaking Chinese. Nope.
And so basically
Oh,
each
shit.
agent each agent now will have a one-line description, and then they'll also have the model message with their name in it, right?
Yes.
And so then the code for the decider agent, for the toggle mode agent, will get model message shell description, right? And we'll get the description line from each of the agents. And what it decides will then result in the name, the model message with the same name going out, right? As the initial model message in the conversation history.
Yes.
And these, when you're writing the actual lines, just do R. You see the R with the triple quotes. Yeah, and then it ends with triple quotes too. So 3 quotes. Boom.
Mm-hmm. um, I asked, yeah, it returned a description that was almost as long as the prompt.
For now, you can just use real short placeholders, right?
I might as well. I'm in here doing it.
Totally.
Wait a minute. Nope. That's the wrong one. Getting ahead of myself. Wait, didn't I have it tweet already? I'm forgetting things now.
I don't think you got it all the way to tweet.
I did.
I know you got Shell Chat to send a tweet, but I don't know if you did that with its own custom model message.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, no. It was just a one-liner. Yeah, you're right. Okay, what the? Okay. No. No, that's fine. This is dumb.
Wrong quotes.
Yep. Thank you. Still. Okay. Well, I suppose that'll be good enough for now, right?
Totally. So if I were giving this to ChatGPT too, I'd give it one of the short ones down there, like discuss, and I would give it the whole thing. And I'd say, we've got in model messages.py, we have a bunch of agents in this format, right?
From here?
Yes.
Down to there, yeah?
Yep. And tell it that that list is in model messages.py if you didn't.
Yeah.
Cool. And so its first step should be to create a list of agents, right? Instead of choosing modes, right? It should create a list of all the different names in there. And then it should use the description for each agent when calling the Gemini, or when calling the AI. So scroll up a little bit. I forget what it was in, just so I can see code-wise. Okay, it says AI response. So yeah, when calling the AI, it should include the list of agent descriptions.
So we went to like the list of agent names and descriptions?
Yes, good call. And have it respond with the appropriately chosen agent name, basically. And then we want to parse the name from the response. And as long as it's on the list, we want to include that model message as the initial model message in conversation history. Just realizing, thinking out loud here, that it might, it's probably fine as .py, never mind. But it might want to try to change it to model messages.text or something like that. But I think we're using it as .py elsewhere, so we may as well leave it that way.
Okay.
I've lost your screen sharing, by the way.
Oh, duh. Sorry. I tried to upgrade it and instead broke it. That's the way.
So this might be because, have you updated the thing with the new files? Because it might not have the files from your last update in the agent itself.
I actually gave it the code segment.
Yeah, but only the segment, right? And it still doesn't it still know all of the other stuff?
It should.
Yeah, and so it probably knows the old stuff.
Hold on here.
Now,
what?
I would consider editing your previous message instead, just so that it doesn't get confused. Yeah, you can just edit and say, here's the whole code as well. You can give it the sample and then the whole code. It's fine.
Just give it to it, and if he gives me the segment, it should probably be all right.
Pardon me?
If I give it should I ask it to rewrite the entire thing, or just like if it gives me a segment, it's probably just going to give me that one section that we had.
Yeah, that's probably fine, right? Just say, here's the whole code for reference or whatever, or the whole file, because it's not necessarily the whole code. Not a bad start. I don't think it's including the appropriate agent's full model message.
Yeah.
And we wanted to update the conversation history with the appropriate agent's model message as well, right? I don't think it's doing that yet. But that does look good. It just isn't doing anything with it yet. You see it's still else return. Yeah.
Still what, sorry?
So it still needs to update the initial model message in the conversation history with the appropriate model message based on the decision, right?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
We need to then update the initial model message in the conversation history with the model message for the agent that was chosen. Yeah, now I just ask it to put it all together. It's a weird way to do it, but you can assemble it. It's fine as long as everything is in its own code block.
Right.
I'm cautiously optimistic, to be honest. That's annoying, but you can handle that. You just paste the whole thing in and then delete the
Mhm.
first two lines. It does that to maintain the indentation, which is fine, but that's why I prefer it to all be in one code block because it's just easier. Nice.
Wonder if it's gonna lose context. Hundred and 72 lines total.
And yeah, there's a there's a chance it'll be slightly shorter because of the button removal stuff that we did in there, but so I guess you figured this out already, but you can save this just as test, right? And run that. It doesn't have to overwrite the old file.
Why is it not sitting where I want it to? Oh. Dork.
I noticed UI elements.py wasn't in there.
It is not. There it is.
Just give it that error, honestly. It's probably just improperly imported something.
What does this mean?
Yeah, it just means it it imported the messages, but I think it was still just looking for the 3 initial messages, so it may have fixed it. There. Yeah, copy the whole thing. It's safer. And then just select everything, including the spaces at the beginning there. Yeah. All the way down to instruction equals. Yeah, right there. And to the end of that. Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
That
do I
can
get rid of
stay
this one
there.
too?
It's not the end of the world.
Okay.
Actually, no, it probably can't because it's in the middle of a class. So yeah, put that at the beginning. Yeah, it's already there, so it's fine. You can just remove it.
What's this one?
Okay.
See what happens.
Oh yeah, the comments are fine. You can leave them in.
Okay. So-
Have to restart it.
That's weird that doesn't show. Let's try this again, shall we?
I love when it compliments us on the code at the end.
Indeed. Same. More errors.
Give it the whole model messages.py file as well.
Okay.
Give it both files.
What?
Give it model messages.py, but then also paste the whole code again. It can hold it all.
Okay.
Did we make a typo in model messages?
It said it did include it.
No. I like the direct access, so that's definitely the way to do it.
It's just this, yeah.
Yep, and as long as you maintain the indentation, you can just paste that line. You'll have to space it properly so it's aligned with the... Yeah. Yep, try that.
Do I need to keep this in there too, or did it just...
Yeah, no, those are extra changes, I think. Agent names, agent descriptions, agent list for instructions. Yeah. So, yeah, right before the comments where it's in your code currently is the end.
Right here? Oh, and then to here?
Yeah. Oh, actually, sorry. Control Z. Just let me look one more. There. No, not all the way down. One up from there.
Oh, here.
Yeah. and include the spaces when you're pasting. You want to, oh yeah. That looks wrong. Undo. I think the indent's wrong, isn't it? Yeah. So copy that. And then make sure you select all the white space at the beginning too, when you're pasting. Yeah. There.
Isn't that going to put it up at the top corner though?
Oh, it's because it's multi-line. Yeah. So this is an issue I have with splicing too, is that you have to indent everything over after.
Yeah.
Which is really annoying. So I would just grab all 3 lines individually and paste them over instead.
Got it.
So you don't need that one, just the agent names, agent description, and list for instruction lines. Yeah.
To here?
Yeah. And then you can just indent properly. Oh, no, not there. Sorry. One up. The white space at the beginning there, and then space that. Yeah. There you go. This is why I often abuse ChatGPT until I get the full code each time instead of splicing, because I hate doing this. And I'd almost rather hit regenerate 5 times than do this.
Agreed.
That one worked. Okay. Now restart it and give it a try. Oh, save it.
Motherfucker.
No, but look. No. Before. Look up.
There's no agents listed.
Yeah, so, but we did do an AI call this time. So it got
That's-
further. So start at that user input. Received, yeah, and paste that whole thing in. All right, it's oscillating between the two, but I'm wondering if we just forgot to save last time and if you had fixed it. So go back to the code, yeah. And just Control Z. No.
Control Z.
Yeah, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. There. Oh, one too far.
What's redo?
I don't know.
Shit.
Just wait. Let's see. Was it just the one? Go back to ChatGPT for a sec.
Where the fuck? I have too many things open.
And scroll up just a little bit. just want to see. And scroll up one more. And one more response. A little further back. Yeah, scroll down a little bit more. Okay, so it was that one. Yeah, keep going a little further down, and we'll see this response. Scroll down a little more. And that was all three of them already. Darn, now I don't know. Just try running that one more time. Just in case we got lucky.
No AI call that time. I don't think.
No, you're correct. Okay, so go back to ChatGPT. We don't have to adjust our code because we're going to do it again anyway. Scroll down a little bit. So scroll down to the end for a sec. All right, and tell it still having issues. Can we just read model messages.py directly instead of importing it? Yeah, way better. And so you'll probably just have to give it the code again too, and just ask for the full code back just in case. But yeah, this is much better. Oh shoot, I just had a thought though. What's the contents of model messages.py in the folder you're in? Is there a chance we're just in the wrong folder?
No.
No. Okay, yeah. No problem. Let's just do what we were doing. You can say, yeah, see how it goes. But I'll say all in one code block, please, because it can fit it.
Okay. You test this, then I gotta go plug in a chainsaw.
I can remember where we're at too, so we'll be able to pick up no problem later, right? If
Other methods, you asshole.
Right.
All right.
What I do here, yeah, stop and regenerate.
What were all in one code block? How do you do
Yeah,
those ones?
yeah, at the end there, right
Okay.
after the code, just
Okay.
say, I want the full code back, all in one code block. No comments where code should be is something I often say too.
Cool beans. It's kind of fun when it's cooking.
Right? Well, and at this point now, I usually watch it. Like, even if I'm regenerating a bunch of times, I watch it out of the corner of my eye just to see if it fails on me.
Yeah.
But also, I'll often read it over and see if it's doing it right. And it does look like it's doing it right. So,
Don't bork.
when you're watching it spit out this much code that is this custom, you can't help but feel better, or feel like it's not just an X token predictor, because it's taking so much of your original input into consideration.
Right.
Like, this isn't boilerplate anywhere. Almost done.
Well done.
Is that saved up as a new file? I didn't actually see that happen on screen.
That's a very good question. Let's not assume.
And Control S. And model messages.py was saved too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right, because you opened it.
Why does that have a star on it though?
Because it's a duplicate.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Oh, that says save changes though. Does that still have the descriptions for everything?
Oh my god, it might have been utterly borked from the beginning. This will be interesting. Okay.
Before you pay, actually, yeah, go ahead, paste over. Yeah, do it.
Google Docs has completely and totally spoiled me.
Right?
This whole having to save thing is just so weird. Weird, like in English. All right.
I can't see the URL. Oh, there it is. Ah.
did I not make a description for it?
Just scroll up a little bit too. Let's just see. It didn't even make the decision AI call.
Oh, I don't think I made one of these. Could it just be that?
Maybe.
It's expecting to see it and it doesn't see it. Yeah. Fucking fuck. It's interesting that it worked before, like to the AI call point.
Yeah, well, it might be basing it, like, might be building the list first. And if there's one entry and it doesn't have the corresponding entries, the list build might fail. Yeah. Up arrow.
Oh, I keep forgetting that. Fucking up arrow. This might be working.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well,
Bam.
yeah, now yeah, that's pretty interesting now. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how to write system prompts so that it'll actually run through a good loop.
Right. So now we need the executive function, right? We need the feedback, the checking, and the deciding when your response is actually fully satisfied, right? And or we need some way of feeding in initial user inputs that aren't what you type, right? If you want it to be thinking in advance. And then skills, right? So right now this is all built around the execute skill.
Yeah, I think if we can get to the point where it's looping and where we're getting summaries and have like the summary bit on the side, maybe, right? That way, like if it can run through or do like as I'm stuck on the looping thing, and maybe I'm just like I shouldn't be thinking like that anymore.
Well, so here's where I see loops, right? Like a pure loop would be like the thing I'm thinking about building that I've got some code for the Raspberry Pi in a webcam, right? Where there's a loop that is constantly checking screenshots and listening for speech, right? And when it detects those, it then executes other things based on that, right? And that loop is always there and running. Another loop is that self-improvement loop, right? There's nothing stopping us from having every 10 minutes a different agent running whose output doesn't go to the actual conversation history, but that's using the conversation history to write more agents or to improve various parts of the code.
Yeah,
right? Like
that
a
has to
self-improvement
get
loop.
pinned. Right. I sort of want to pin that to the length of the context window. Right. So like when it is going to start basically recycling the context, it can sort of take a. And
Right.
It would make sense to then kind of wipe it and just return the summary as opposed to the whole block to kind of wipe the slate a little bit.
In certain situations, right? And so instead of thinking in terms of loop, think in terms of loops, right? What kinds of agents or agent systems do you want to run regularly, right? Either at various context length ones or various user messages or just in the background working on the code. And this is also related to sessions, right? Like, do you want this to be doing stuff that is going to be remembered the next time you run this, or do you want a clean slate? right? Like I've got the conversation history wiping each time, but you might want a summary included or a meta summary included each time the thing is launched. But the loop that I find interesting is, and we've got everything here for shell chat, but like, say your user input is send a tweet about cheese, right? You don't want a single AI call to the shell chat prompt that is trying to do everything, right? What you want is, and you don't want the output to be a single massive terminal command that you run once, right? Even if it gets the feedback after you hit run. What you want is a loop where it tries, it automatically executes, the terminal output is included in the next loop, right? It tries again and it keeps trying until it gets the confirmation that it sent that tweet, right? And it uses that terminal output as feedback. And eventually it uses that feedback to even change how the agent is system prompted, right? Because if it's not succeeding with the types of attempts it makes a new agent that is specifically for sending tweets that just knows the key information about how to send a tweet. And then you might want, every time a new agent is created like that, you might want another thing that comes in and builds that into a skill that any agent could use, right? But
yeah, I do like that separation of having like the being able to dynamically pull in skills and agents kind of independently is very interesting.
Right. And so I can see you using the shell chat stuff as the first example so that you can constrain your thinking, right? But instead of it being just like you made the decider, instead of there being a button to push, you've built it into the system. Now you build in the execution into the system, right? So it runs things. You see the terminal. So if you have to enter your passwords, you still enter your passwords. But once the terminal output is finished, it runs again, right? And it keeps going until it says, hey, we did it. I can tell from the terminal that you've successfully sent this tweet. Or from screenshots, right? Like have it take a screenshot every loop, right? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That
Nope.
considering that my brain feels like Swiss cheese right now, I feel like we actually got somewhere, which is kind of cool.
We really did. So make sure you save and back this up, right? So that you don't lose it. And then a really good next step is cleanup, right? Like at this point, you can tell it, hey, everything is working, but I want it to be more modular in general. I want things moved outside of the class so other classes can use it. I just need this cleaned up to be super modular and flexible. And now you've got something you can test every time, right? And once you're at that point of flexibility and modularity and you understanding all the bits here, it's going to be really easy to tell where best to get your hooks in, right?
Okay.
Major changes. You've done so well. At this point now, you can just add new agents to the list and it's all automatically picked up, parsed, and decided for you. So
yeah. That's a lot.
It's a huge amount. And honestly, how long were we at this?
Not very long.
No.
Yeah. So ping me when you get up tomorrow.
Okay, we'll do.
We'll rock and roll.
Good luck.
I think actually all that was live too, which is kind of entertaining.
Right?
If I can find it. Oh, it's right here. So,
Yeah, we should give that to MetaMind.
that's a good idea. Yeah, I'll send you the link. Or do it in there. Okay. All right. Off
Awesome.
to the
Talk to you
yard
soon.
work. Ciao. Thank you.
Bye, Corey. Yeah, no problem.